All right. Hey, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for being here tonight on the show. We have Leadership Stack Live again tonight. And before I start, just want to remind everyone that we are having our webinar soon. That is Grow Balance Your Life, leadme.ph/grow balance. I don't know if you've been there, if you've checked it out, but if you haven't yet, please do check that link out. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen right here. There we go. There we go. All right. So we are going to have this webinar. It's on August 14. So that is already next week. And we are going to have a 2-hour session. How much is the investment fee? It's 950 for 2 hours. I think it is well worth your time and investment. So you could check out the details here. That's going to be August 14, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. after dinner. And you can ask me questions as well in that webinar. We have a Q&A after the main session. It's all about how you can grow yourself, personal growth, what direction you want your life to go in, especially now during the pandemic where everything is just out of whack. And balancing your life is also something that we are going to be tackling there. How do you find work from home and juggling all of the stuff that's going on at home while you're giving your commitment your all to work? So that is what we're going to be discussing in that webinar. The link is down there. You could go check that out. And we do have our new podcasts this week. We have published them. You might want to check that out as well. Let me share that to you. Here we go, the Leadership Stack podcast. So if you didn't know, this Thursday live Ask Me Anything session is always translated to a podcast on Spotify and YouTube. So for this week, what we have is we have 3 episodes published on August 3, 4, and 5, and they're just between 12 and 14 minutes each. We continue the session with Sensei Gillian. Really great session, by the way. One of the things that we discuss is how gossip kills businesses. And if you're running a startup business, you have like 2, 3 people, maybe 5, 10. You have someone gossiping in there, that's just gonna wreck your team. You cannot build a good team when you have a gossiper inside the team. And let me tell you, even the gossipers agree. Even they agree. But they still gonna gossip. They're still gonna gossip and they're still gonna wreck your team. And they talk about you behind your back. They talk about other people behind their backs. No one likes a gossiper. Even gossipers don't like other gossipers, right? So, how do you get rid of that environment? How do you get rid of that evil spirit in your culture? That is what we're going to be talking about. It's just 14 minutes. You might want to tune into that. The importance of having different mentors. Me and Marvin Guillermo would talk about our mentors as well. You might want to check that out and why it's important to delegate, not micromanage. How do you delegate? Well, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of leaders get this wrong because they think delegation is just giving the keys to someone else and go ahead, God bless you, you run the show. It is not like that. How do you delegate properly? That is what we talk about in episode 239, published August 15. 13 minutes, guys. That's a 13-minute investment that will level you up and level up your entire business because you are the leader. This is the first AMA, by the way, that we are doing with 3,000 followers on Spotify already. Thank you so much. You guys have made the Leadership Stack podcast the number one leadership podcast here in the Philippines. We have the most followers and we are the number one leadership podcast to date. I am so excited about that. I am so happy and I just want to thank you guys for being with me on that journey on the way here. So we have a couple of questions tonight. Let's see. What do I have? Questions. First one is from Mitch. Mitch asks, hey, Mitch, by the way, thanks for tuning in. You're here every week. I'm so happy to see you. Thank you so much for sharing our podcast faithfully, always engaging in the community in Discord. Love it. And she asks, can you tell us the story on what inspired you to study about human motivations? What led you to get certified? All right. Um, First off, my John Maxwell certification as a speaker and coach, I paid for that not to have more certifications under my name, but I paid for that because I wanted to learn how I can lead my people better. I am not a perfect leader. In fact, I have so many bad stuffs that I need to unlearn as a leader. When you're a founder of a company and you're the CEO, and you could read this in books and you can hear this in podcasts, you have to have a little bit of whack in you. You know, you have to have a little bit of craziness in you. And I'm trying to get that out of my system. And in order for me to do that, I have to be a perpetual learner and having a beginner's mindset all the time. So when the John Maxwell team announced that they are doing their certifications online internationally, that appealed to me. And I looked at that and I asked myself, do I want to get this because it's going to elevate my name? And I figured out quickly that I don't want that to be the case because motivational speaking, public speaking is not really my bread and butter. It's not something that I do for a living. I love doing it. I love helping people. I love giving value to others. I love paying things forward. That's why we funded this show and the Leadership Stack podcast. We pay for the editors, the producers, we pay for the hosting, we paid for the equipment, everything. We invested in it, and we're not getting any monetary returns for what we're doing because we love what we're doing. But we also know, I also know, it's not going to be making a living for me, at least not in the I don't see it even in the far future. I don't see it making a living for me. So what happens is I saw that certification and I thought I wanted to get certified because I want to learn, not because I want more things under my name. But I don't want more certifications under my name, but I want to learn, what does it take to be a really good leader? How can I improve my leadership? What else don't I know? What else do I need to learn to become better in talking with people, in building relationships? So I'm the type of guy where I'm a go-getter. I want things done now, today, if it can get done today. I'm an activator. I want to activate things. I want to finish things. I need deadlines. I'm not that great when it comes to relationships, building, nurturing relationships. I don't do a lot of small talk or chit chats in the office. I'm focused at work. And there are people who are great at that. And I want to learn how they do it. Right? It's not my strength. And I may not be able to make it my strength because my strength is being in finishing tasks, executing, right? I'm the chief executive officer. But I still want to learn. If I could improve in that area, I want to learn what I don't know. Because if I don't know what I don't know, then I'm hopeless. I want to know what I don't know. And one of the first things that I did was to take on that certification course. And I did learn a lot of things. And I'm still learning up to today because they have a lot of stuff that you already paid for with the certification that you can consume on a daily basis at your own pace. Um, the story on what inspired me to study about human motivation, I guess I really didn't study about motivation per se. I didn't study about how to inspire others. What I did was I just started sharing my story to other people. And I thought, if I could do it, if I could be CEO at a young age, build a company, lead people, and do it all without hubris, without a lot of ego involved. Of course there's ego, but you don't let it get in the way of you leading people, right? How do you do it? Is that even possible? Is a 22-year-old guy Is it possible for a 22-year-old guy to start a company that is worth multi-million by the age 30, without capital, with 1,300 pesos? Like, that's something that I want to share to the world because I think that's worth sharing. I think people might get inspired with that story that, hey, it's possible. I don't have to live a life dictated by my parents, dictated by society, wherein I just need to finish college, then work hard, work hard, work hard, try to climb the corporate ladder, play politics in the office, kiss ass, and have a living, if you call that living, right? So that's something that I wanted to kind of I just wanted to give people another option in life where, this is another way. It's another way. Just work your ass off, work hard, and work smart, but work very, very hard for what you want. Sacrifice stuff, and you're gonna be able to get the life that you want someday in the future. Live the life today that no one is living, so that you can live like no one is living someday. So I had to sacrifice so many things. When I was starting out, I sacrificed a lot of entertainment, a lot of going out with friends, a lot of movie nights. I sacrificed all those things. I worked 16-hour days, 7 days a week. I am not so proud about that because I don't think you always need to work like a horse, but those are the things that I sacrificed. I lived like no one else my age during that time so that I can live like no one else my age during this time. That is something that I want to share with others. And it just so happens that people call me a motivational speaker or an inspirational speaker now. But all I'm really doing is sharing my story to the rest of the world. Hope that answers your question, Mitch. How does your knowledge on human motivations help you as a leader in SEO hacker and in the other roles you play in life? I'm not big on studying motivation, right? I'm not big on studying human motive. In fact, I don't ever think that I studied human motivation. I wouldn't call it that way. If ever I did, study human motivation. I studied leadership. I'm an ever I'm an eternal student of Dr. John Maxwell, of Patrick Lencioni, of Dave Ramsey, of all of these big names that I look up to and I follow. And they teach me through their books, podcasts, and seminars and webinars how to be a leader that motivates and inspires others. So I don't study it because I want to use it in SEO Hacker to propel people to be motivated. I study it to improve myself so I could be a beacon that people could look up to and say, I want to follow that leader. I want to do things because I believe in that leader. That is what I study. That is what I want to become. I don't think you can ever motivate people outside of their own desires and internal decisions. That is theirs to have. And you can only be an inspiration for them if you can lead yourself and if you can motivate and inspire yourself to live a life that is like no other. Then inspiration from others will follow, it will come. How can knowing about human motivation help me as a team member, as a marketer, and as a content creator? I think if you take the earlier answers I gave you, which is about improving yourself, leading yourself, and you use that and you improve yourself as a human being, as another person, as another, you know, um, good Samaritan to someone else, then people will be able to see you as a leader. It's inevitable. If you lead yourself well, people see you as a leader. It is inevitable. You know why? Because the hardest person to lead is yourself. So if you can do that well, people also are having a very difficult time leading themselves. And if they see you doing that well, they can't help but be attracted to you. And they can't help but follow you. And they want to ask you questions. They consider you as a leader. So if you help yourself to become a better leader, guess what? You're helping others in your team. You become a better team member because you inspire others to want to lead themselves better as well. As a marketer, as a content creator, I guess my business. My business is SEO. It's digital marketing. It is generating more revenue in the digital market for my clients. That is my business. That's how I get to eat. That's how I feed my family. That's how I feed 50 people in the team in SEO Hacker. This Leadership Stack show, this talk, this me giving you value, hoping you get something out of it, turning it into a podcast and a YouTube recording. I don't really see like how both can work hand in hand, right? There's no real direct connection between the two, but people respect good leaders. In whatever field you are in, people respect good leaders. One of my good friends that I shared the stage with, we really just shared a Zoom webinar together, is Paco Magsaysay, or the CEO and founder of Carmen's Best Ice Cream. He's in the ice cream industry, but he talks leadership and he walks the talk, and people admire him for that, and he gets to share the stage with other big name leaders because of his leading himself and inspiring others. Now, how does he become a content creator? How does he become a marketer with these things? If he does decide to use that as a platform, that stage that he's given as a platform to market his product, to market his service, then now he is using his leadership to market his livelihood and his business. It becomes a platform for you to market your other things. And inevitably, you also become a content creator because you can watch his stuff, you can watch his talks on YouTube, on Facebook Live, Facebook groups, you can tune in, and he inevitably becomes a content creator. It's just that I may be more intentional about it, wherein I really want to have my podcast, I really want to have the YouTube channel, and in hopes that someday the ones, my target, who my target market is, my real target market would be my kids. Because someday, I don't know, if God takes me early, they will be able to watch this and say, that's my dad. These are the things he values, these are the things he believes in. I want to be like him. I want to leave a legacy for my kids. They are my target audience and market. That is why when we started the podcast, I mean, we have 800 plus followers on YouTube now. A lot of other content creators out there have millions. Does it matter to me? It doesn't matter because I have one audience. That's my kids. If God decides to take me home early, they get to watch this. I'm successful. It doesn't matter to me how many subscribers we get on YouTube because that is my goal. That is my mission. And so, going back, it becomes a platform for you. Inevitably, you market. Inevitably, you create content. It's just that I'm more intentional about it because it goes beyond just marketing SEO hacker. It is all about leaving a legacy for my children. Hope I answered that question. Hey, Erica, how can business improve their hiring process? We have the 6-step hiring process, which I shared, and you could read all about it in my book, 50x Your Business. You can search 50x Your Business in Amazon or type leadme.ph/50x, and you will be able to download the book, read it. Our entire hiring process is there. The first thing that is super duper important is for you to have a lot of prospects. Make sure your top of funnel is huge. We have Caliber, JobStreet. We have all these sources of people where we get to hire, where we collect resumes from. LinkedIn, we do pay for all of these things, and people apply, and we get to sort and sift all of those people who we think are a good cultural fit to our company. That is the start of our hiring process. And then we are very intentional about how they progress through the hiring process. We ask them to take exams. We want to know their personality. So we have the personality test. Are they going to be a really good fit for the role that we have open? If you're hiring accountants, you wouldn't want to hire someone who is not attentive to detail, but more attentive to being the life of the party. These things are critical and vital to us. And so we make sure that through the hiring process, we are able to address these things and we get the data, we get the answers. And then if the answers are good, then they progress towards the team leaders interviewing them, talking with them, then the GM, the COO, and finally, I'm the final interview. If they pass all interviews, welcome to the team. You did well. That's already an accomplishment right there because only 1 out of 10 people that we interview get hired. So a lot of people who are hired in SEO Hacker, immediately they feel a sense of accomplishment, which for me is a very big thing because when people don't value the fact that you hired them, then they're not going to produce a lot of value in the first few days, first few weeks, maybe in the first few months. You're not going to get a lot of value out of them because they feel like they got in easy. So that is something that is super duper important for us. We were very intentional about building our entire hiring process funnel. I've done a lot of episodes on the hiring process of SEO Hacker. I think it is on Spotify and YouTube. If you just do a simple search, hiring process, or the leadership stack hiring, something like that, put those keywords in, you will be able to find those episodes and tune in. What are the essentials that should be taught during a new team member's onboarding? The most important ones are the core values. What does your team value? And that stems from the founder. So some of my core values, some of my life principles is integrity, hard work, have guts to confront other people, have guts to grab opportunities, prepare ahead, because if you're preparing when the opportunity comes, it's too late. You have to prepare ahead of the opportunity. Go the extra mile, give people high touch service. We I have all of these things within me, and when I wrote our company core values, it's my DNA in there. And what we do is we ask people to memorize the core values, and by proof they have to recite it, and we choose them randomly, because if it's not here, how can it get here in the heart, right? So that is something that we teach people. If it's not here, how can it be here? You have to memorize our core values. You have to know how we do things, what we don't do and what we do around here. So that is very important for us. For me, the history, not really that important. It's nice to know, but core values is super duper important. Vision is critical. For me, the vision must be taught, it must be known, it must be in the heart of everyone. And you will see who is in your team for the vision and who is in your team for the money. Those people who are in your team for the money, is easy to find them out, because when tough times come and money might be on the line, it's on the line. Like during the pandemic, money's on the line, right? A lot of people are thinking, am I going to get my salary? Is my salary going to get cut? Am I going to get retrenched? Money's on the line. Those kinds of people who are in it for the money, easy for you to spot. They're not going to go the long game with you. It's up to you how you want to play with them. You're going to keep them, or you're going to promote them, right? But in SEO Hacker, they don't get very far. But people who are in it for the vision, these people, they're loyal to you. They don't complain. They create solutions. They are with you all the way. They don't talk behind your back. They speak good against you. They support you as the leader. These kinds of people, you take care of them. You take extra good care of them, because if you don't, someone else out there will, right? And so it's easy for you to see this when you keep casting the vision. That is why, as the leader, you have to keep casting the vision. That is one of the most important things that you do as a leader, because no one else will cast the vision for you. It is your vision being cast. Are you in it or not? The train is leaving. Are you going to get on, or are you going to get left behind? What are the signs that a business needs to evaluate its team processes? All right, so when you evaluate your processes, it's easy to know if they're working or not, right? When you ask someone new, and if you're like us, you're always hiring new people. So when you ask someone new, hey, look at the process, don't ask me questions yet. Just read the process document, go through it, test it out, see if you can actually accomplish your KPI with your job. Can you accomplish your KPI with your job with this process? Now, if that person couldn't accomplish the KPI, then there's something wrong with your process document. There is something wrong with your process per se, and you have to go back in and reevaluate and rewrite that document, right? That is how generally you should do it. You will know if a process document is working or not, because every quarter, right? Every quarter, you're probably hiring someone new. Every quarter, you should be, when you're a growing business. You hire someone new every quarter. You ask that new guy or new gal, go through the process document. If that person couldn't figure it out, there's something wrong with your process, and you have to go back in and reevaluate that and fix that. How can we ensure that our team stays on track of their goals and the company's goals? I have to go back to the vision, right? Goals. When you say something is a goal, it is a vision with pants on, right? It is your vision with pants on, with deadlines in it, with more meat in the bones. So when you cast a vision, when you say vision, it's a little bit blurry, it's a little bit hazy. It's a north star, ever there but never reaching. That's a vision. You cast that vision because that's generally where you want to go. When you say goals, these are the embodiments of your vision. These are the deadlines, the timelines, what you really actually have to do to get there. So how you can be sure that the team stays on track of their goals and the company's goals, you keep casting the vision. You keep casting the vision. And then you have to make sure that people have their KPIs. Now, how can people not have KPIs? You might be surprised. So many people, so many companies, so many teams don't have KPIs because it's the team leader's job, it's the operations manager's job to make sure that every team has a written KPI. And when you boil it down, what kind of KPI should a department have? It should only be one, two, or three, and that's it. They shouldn't have like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 KPIs because now they're not KPIs, right? It should just be one, two, or three KPIs, maximum three. That's it. If there's only one KPI per department, all the better. You have to make sure that's written on paper, and you have to make sure that's written on the job description. When you hire someone new for that department, you have to make sure to tell them this is what winning looks like. This is your KPI. Otherwise, the moment you hire them, they're confused. You don't want to hire confused new people. You don't want to hire confused new applicants. When you want to make sure when you hire someone, they hit the ground running and they know the direction they're going. If you hire someone and they hit the ground running and they're running in the wrong direction, you failed as a leader because you didn't specify the KPI. They don't know what winning looks like. So it is our job to make sure that we put that on paper and we actually put it in the job description before we hire people, because now they know what winning looks like, what the KPIs are. And if they have bought into that, then they will continue on with the hiring process and they're going to sign that probationary contract and regular contract with you. As a leader, how can we tell what needs to be improved in each team member? Go ahead and ask them. That is the easiest thing. Number one. Number two, you ask their peers, hey, what do you think about this person? Hey, what do you think could be improved about this person? And maybe you can ask the individual himself or herself. I really want to get to know you better. What is something about you that other people would tell you should improve? What is something about you that your closest friends would say you should improve? What's something about you that your parents would say you should improve? And you help that team member out in those areas, because those are probably the areas that they are not yet super duper aware that they have to change, or they haven't put so much effort into it. And you, the leader, if you help them out in that area, that's going to be gold for you, win for you, and win for that person. Because if that person is winning and you're the team leader, then you are winning. That person's victory is your victory. Always remember that. So make sure that you serve your team members and make sure that if there's something to improve about them, you are working with them to improve that. What's the best way to evaluate team performance? Best way to evaluate team performance is if they're hitting their KPIs or not, right? This is why I mentioned earlier, you have to make sure that each department has its KPIs. One would be best if you could boil it to just one KPI and that's it. That's the best thing. If not, two or three, but no more than 3 KPIs per team. No more than 3 KPIs per person. That's it. And you can only make sure that that works and that happens when you have it in the job description. Like before you hire people for this department, here's what winning looks like. Can you achieve that or not? Oh yeah, you can. You can achieve that KPI. Great. Welcome to the team. If not, don't even, then you shouldn't be part of the team. Simple as that. Sometimes employees can be hesitant to talk to leaders. How can we change that mindset? A lot of employees are hesitant to talk to leaders because leaders don't listen. And when I say don't listen, it means, yeah, you think that? Well, here's what I think. Right? Yeah, you think that? I don't think that's right. Or they simply don't listen. They don't have any way to get feedback from their people. Or literally, when people start talking to them, they say, talk to the HR, talk to so and so. Bring your dirty laundry out to another person. That's not my problem. I'm the CEO. I don't want to hear those things. It's so petty, right? So if you as the leader don't listen, they're not just hesitant to talk to you, but the problem is they're gonna gossip around, right? That's a bigger problem. It's not the thing about employees being hesitant to talk to leaders. I don't think is the biggest problem. The biggest problem about this scenario is if you don't listen as the leader. Your employees will gossip. That's really what's going to happen. And you wouldn't want that because you got to fire them, right? I mean, people who gossip, who that's just going to destroy the unity of your team. So, what you need to do as the leader, listen. Sometimes just listen to them and say, okay, let's see what we can do. And really try to do it. Really see what you can do about it. That's now your integrity as the leader, right? Now, I'm not saying that you always have to agree with your people. That's not what I'm saying. We are not running democracies. We're not running little democracy businesses out here where the majority wins. If businesses were run as a democracy, I think all businesses would fail, right? That's why there's only one leader. You're the leader. If things fail, it's your neck on the line. It's your business that's gonna sink. It's your name. It's not their name that's gonna sink. It's not their name on the bank. They didn't get the loan. They didn't take the risk. They didn't roll the dice. Why are you going to make it majority wins? Don't make it a democracy. Your business is not a democracy. What I'm saying is you listen to your people and then you tell them, okay, I understand where you're coming from and really understand it. And if there's something that you can do about it, do it. But if you think they're wrong, and they are most often, I would say, then tell them straight. I think this is what I think, blah, blah, blah. These are the facts. These are the data. It's true. This is what's in my head. What do you think about that? Hear them out, hear their opinions out, draw it out, let them air it out. Usually employees, that's what they want to do. They want to air it out, and that's it, right? But at the end of the day, it's your neck on the line. You the leader, you the founder, you the CEO, you the entrepreneur, and you have to decide because it's your risk, it's your business, and it's your name. At the end of the day, don't run your business like a democracy. That is something that I actually made the mistake of doing early on in SEO Hacker, and it cost me a lot. What are your suggestions on how to reward teams? Best way to reward them, I think, is to let them know how well they did. Honestly, I mean, yeah, performance bonuses and money is great. It's fantastic. But a lot of people, the last time they heard an applause when they went on stage is when they got their diploma in high school or in college, and that's it. That's the last time they ever got an applause on stage. And I think that's a pretty sad statistic, right? So in SEO Hacker, we make sure to change that by recognizing people who have gone the extra mile, have lived out our core values. By the way, one of our core values is challenger, which means you go the extra mile. You really work hard. You make sure that you give out your best. We're not talking about overtiming. We're just talking about you giving your best for your work, serving our people, serving our clients, serving our brand name. So we always make sure that we recognize these people. That's one great way I think that you could do to reward people in your team. Monetary, of course, that's a given. If you can have performance bonuses or you have monetary bonuses you want to give to special performers, that is always, I think that's the easiest to give, to be honest. It's easy to just give money, but it's hard to give recognition, especially if you're the top leader and it's hard for you to see everything. So we have a couple of ways to do that, not just the what we call the claps session, where we applaud people who went the extra mile, but we also have the patching ceremony, where we patch people based on how well they lived out our core values as a team. And those patches are a big deal because we do that only once every quarter. And in that patching ceremony, all the leaders in the entire company would vote whoever is deserving for that patch. So we do it in a lot of ways. You can be creative and do it in a way that is meaningful for your company, because your company would have a different DNA than mine. I don't know, your core values could be very different than mine. So yeah, but get creative. Definitely don't look the other way when it comes to rewarding people, because that's a big deal. What is the best way to facilitate heated I don't agree on having heated discussions just because, When conflicts arise, we have a couple of rules. Number one, don't hit below the belt. And this is true with all conflicts. Whether you have a conflict with your parents, your siblings, your loved one, your wife, your husband, don't hit below the belt. If you know something you would say is going to piss them off royally, don't say it, right? Hold off. Make sure you have good clean fights, and don't hit the person. Just focus on the conflict. Just focus on what you disagree with, just the topic. I think I think facilitating heated discussions have a lot to do with having rules before the conflict. If you set ground rules before the conflict, then heated discussions would be few and far in between. I do believe that there should be healthy conflicts. Patrick Lencioni says, conflict is nothing but the pursuit of truth, a search for the best possible answer. And so I think that having good, healthy conflict in teams is very important. But heated discussions sound like it's getting out of hand. So that is something that I wouldn't want in a team. And the tendency is for people to get personal, right? So facilitating them, I haven't really had the opportunity to do that, thank God. But if ever heated discussions would come up, I'd probably say let's take a time off. And we're gonna. Some of the leaders would have to talk to one party, and the other leaders would have to talk to the other party before we resume discussions about that. So that's probably how I would handle it. I'm not sure if that's the best way, but that's probably how I'll handle it. From Nino, when you were still starting and you lacked capital, did you do some side hustles to support your venture? I did start with 1,300, but it's a services company. So the good thing about having a services type company is you don't need a lot of capital. Your capital is yourself. So in my case, my capital is this, what I know and how well I learn and adopt things and how fast I act on them because Google keeps changing. So this is my capital. And I didn't need side hustles. During that time, it's just SEO hacker. My side hustle is SEO hacker. My main business is SEO hacker. So I would get projects that are pretty weird, but it has something to do with SEO and SEM, something to do with digital marketing. I would get hodgepodge, different ad hoc kinds of work. And that's okay because it's a small company, it's a small business, and I'm trying to make things work. I'm trying to make things float. At the end of the day, I want my ledger to be in black rather than in red, meaning expenses greater than revenue. That's the last thing I would want in my ledger, right? So I would do hodgepodge, different services, ad hocs, anything to make sure that it's generating revenue. But it's not a side hustle because everything was going through SEO hacker. I'm an ideas man, and sometimes I have trouble executing a handful of my ideas. How do you prevent yourself from getting sidetracked from all your ideas? That is a very good question. I think that the number one way for you to just not get sidetracked from your ideas is you have to have some time meditating, thinking about where you really want to go, and having a vision for yourself. So if your vision, for example, if my vision for SEO hacker was not really that big, then I would think about other things, right? I'll think about, what do I think about this? What do I think about that business? What if I enter this business? And that's because my vision for SEO hacker might not be that big. It might not be that great. It might not be that long term. So I'm getting sidetracked with all these ideas. But I think if your business, like for me, SEO hacker was really it. Like I'm doubling down in this. This is gonna be the long haul. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it big. The vision is to have 500 companies partnered up with us for our digital marketing services, and we're growing their revenue every month. That is the vision. That is big. That is a great vision. And for me to get sidetracked means that I'm going to lose that vision. I am voyaging in another direction, no longer in my North Star. So maybe think about how big your vision is going to be for your business. That will keep you from getting sidetracked. That is going to be, that's That's how I would do it. That's my answer for that question. Maybe other people would have more ideas, more answers to that. You could put that in the Discord channel. I'd like to see what you guys think. When you were still starting, when did you decide that what you're currently doing is the business that you wish to pursue? Well, it just made sense for me during that time that SEO is going to be a big deal because I was using Google all the time to look for stuff, to know stuff, to read blogs that I wish to learn. I thought about Yellow Pages and how it was dying during that time for businesses. And I thought about the alternative. Millennials are growing up, we're taking over the professional economy. I think 60+% of the workforce, maybe even more, are millennials now. And during that time, I was 20, 22, 21, 22 years old. And I was looking at the forecast, my brain's own forecast of digital marketing and SEO. And I thought, hey, everything's going there. Everything's going digital. And if everything's going digital, Google and search is going to be at the forefront of everything, which I do believe is the case right now. Google's become so big. They have so many different businesses, and search still the number one way you find things online, to be honest. So when I doubled down on SEO, I guess now today I could see it was the right thing to do. But during that time, it was really casting that vision for myself and just putting the pieces together, just connecting the dots. I was using search all the time. I was using Google all the time. Companies would someday also need to make sure that they're ranking well in Google, because millennials, we don't ask family and friends for stuff we need anymore. We ask Google. We even ask Google for our love life and for our spiritual walk. Sometimes people would search like, who is God? How do I get to know him? Right? I mean, Google. It was just no brainer for me that that's the direction the market is gonna go, and I doubled down on it. And during that time, during the early years, it was a bit painful because people didn't know what SEO was. Right? I had little to no business because people didn't care about SEO. They didn't care about digital marketing. They didn't know what it was, and it was pretty tough. And I had to slog through all that. And now you're seeing like SEO hacker and what happened to it. But I tell you straight up, when I was starting out, it was nothing glorious at all. Like people didn't care about SEO during that time. And the money I was making is like super duper small. It wasn't big at all. You would laugh at me and you would tell me, hey, what, why are you doing this business? You could make more money elsewhere with other businesses. Why are you spending so much time on SEO? What's SEO? People don't care anyway, right? I've heard all of these things, but I still went ahead and doubled down on it. And thank God it worked. How and when were you able to decide to incorporate SEO Hacker? 2015. I could still remember. We were dealing with SM. SM is one of our clients. Up to today, we still deal with SM. And we were going to be handling one of their subsidiary companies, which, is pretty big also. And we were getting accredited already. And if you are familiar with the accreditation process of SM, it is one of the strictest, most painful accreditation processes that I've ever gone through with SEO Hacker. And they require that I am a corporate entity. So I was forced to incorporate SEO Hacker and SEC to be able to close the deal. And we were able to close the deal with SM, and that's how we got incorporated. That's really it. I mean, I wasn't thinking about incorporation just for the sake of being incorporated. I was kind of forced to do it because I was closing this deal. When you were still starting, when did you decide to start investing in other investment vehicles instead of reinvesting funds back to your business? Well, SEO Hacker is a service company. So there are times when I need to reinvest in it, which is when we're growing. Like we need to buy new laptops, new tables, new chairs. We need to pay new people, new hires. Maybe we need a new whiteboard. But it's not like a business that would like buy and sell stuff. When you're in a trading or merchandising business, you buy stuff, you buy stock and inventory, and then you sell it. So when you're in that type of business, you roll the money, right? Because if you make a huge profit when you sell the inventory, what you do is a huge chunk of that money you use to buy even more stock. Maybe you want to increase the variety of your inventory a little bit. You buy new items. Technology is ever evolving. You want to buy new and more exciting items this year. A lot of that profit goes to even more inventory. SEO Hacker doesn't have inventory. So we do reinvest in the business as it grows when we need new equipment. But otherwise, we don't really we can't really roll the money. And so early on I had to learn where to put the money, because if I leave it sleeping in the bank, that is not me being a good steward of that money. So I had to look at it, all these other investment vehicles that I had to get into. They all have risks, and I had to pick the best ones for me to be able to be a good steward of the money that I have in SEO Hacker and grow it and be able to pay our people and our growth better. When the time comes that we need to grow more, we are able to pull funds to be able to reinvest in that growth. So yeah, it would really depend on the business. If you're a trading business, you know for a fact that you just roll the money in the business, and that would result to even more profits and revenues. But with SEO Hacker, I had to study all these investment vehicles early on. I think like 2012, 2013, I was already trying to invest in stocks. I didn't know Marvin Germa way back when. I just heard about his name, that he's a billionaire here in the Philippines, and he's one of the top stock market traders and investors. And I had the opportunity to join his stock smarts a lot later on, and that's when I really learned how to trade stocks. At the get go, I really had no idea what I was doing, and I lost money in stocks. So yeah, that's make sure when you're going to use an investment vehicle, you study up, you study the ins and outs, maybe get a mentor so that you don't lose money in it and you actually make money in that investment. Patrick Miguel is here, Pogi ng shirt. Let's go. Oh yeah. This is the SEO Hacker bike jersey. We're having a only very limited number made. I think 30 pieces. If you want one, shoot me a PM, let me know. It's not cheap though, but I could you could buy it for, you could buy it at cost. I don't mind. All right. We have Sarah here. Hey Sarah, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you being here tonight. Vision of Okay, tigilan mo na ako, Patrick. Fake news. All right, Oliver, thanks for being here. I appreciate you being here tonight. Thanks for tuning in. I think that will be our question for tonight. Mitch says, thank you for the answers on Discord. Thank you, Mitch, for being here tonight. Really appreciate you being here. Last thing that I do want to share with you guys is the YouTube channel. So if you haven't been to the YouTube channel, please do know that we have it. And we are, we need more subscribers. Lara, our producer, is always looking for more subscribers for the YouTube channel. It is her KPI. Guys, it is her KPI to take us to 1,000 subscribers. Right now we are at 894. So speaking of, talking about KPI, it is her KPI to take this to 1,000. And if you're good-hearted, please help her out. Share the YouTube channel with other people. That'll help a lot. And we hope also that our channel, our podcast, would be able to reach more people. We want more leaders in our country, right? We need more leaders to step up. And in order for us to be able to do that, we need to educate them about these things, that leadership is about serving others. Integrity is so important. Hard work is still a virtue that we should all strive for. These are the things that you've heard me talk about, and I've been consistent in these things. I have not changed my principles. My tempo is all the same. And I do believe that the more people who share this and grab hold of it and put it in their hearts, the better it is for our country. I hope this helps, and I hope you got a lot of value tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate you. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.